Good morning, welcome back to Ecocentric. A little bit longer of a video today, but well, it is what it is. I had to give you an update on the indoor growing endeavor. And that's a little short, and this is the time that we start showing what we're planning for 2023. So I hope you find it interesting. These little tomato plants are coming along. Just look at the tiny thing this is. That's the moment. Remember the description? It's a moment. And that's as big as the tomatoes will get. They're getting mottled now. I don't have any ripe yet. This one back here is the birdie yuan. It's a yellow thing. Sunset. Right in the back there. I'll move this one. So you got a 1 gallon, one of those square butter container jobbies. Chipico. It's one of the largest of the microdors I have. I can span it with my hand. So that means it's 6 inches high. All the rest are smaller, right? We have what's this one back here? Venus in the back. And Vilma. This one here. And another 6-inch one, which is the Golden Pearl. Now if I put them, you see, if you had some beautiful containers to put them in, and just a regular bookshelf, come out 1 feet, you can put them along in a line, and have your 5,000 Kelvin lights. So each one of these lights now, they're 2100 lumens. So that's 6300 lumens. My calculation, I think it was supposed to be 4, and 2 feet by 4 feet at 2100 lumens each would give you 84. So you have 1000 lumens per square foot is what's needed for the regular grow shelf. But at any rate, like I was saying, if I have beautiful containers, I think I'm going to make some. I got the ability to make some now. And so next year I'll have them all in beautiful containers, but I'll have them here on this shelf again. Down in the grow room office. With respect to the basil, coming along beautifully. Now this one here, he was standing up straight yesterday. And I looked over later in the day, and he was flopped right over. I mean, this part here was just hanging down, eh? And now that's turned up again, so I guess he got too top heavy. But they are growing enough now that I can cut off the tops. You see, I cut off the top there, and it can stand up, and those 2 little starts down there grow into branches. You remember the mammoth basil, the little starts were really little tiny things, and they've grown out now. That was just a week ago. They've grown out pretty good. I'm going to take off these big leaves and let the rest of it grow. The little bits down near the bottom, down by the seed leaves, they're growing out too, see? I'm going to have 2 branches down there. But today, like I say, it's just to take off the big leaves from the mammoth basil. And the dark purple opal basil, they have grown enough now that I can cut the tops, and apparently according to this one I have to. The Thai basil, the starts were growing out a little bit more when I cut them, you remember? And now they've really grown out, and there's actually even another one starting. So it looks like this thing is going to really bush out quite a lot. Of course, we shall see as we keep monitoring them. Pepper plants didn't do too well the growing. I hot potted some, but I'm going to clean out this tray and reseed it with some other things. Now just eliminate what I got, what I managed to get growing. I got growing, and you'll see on the second try. I got this shelf ready to go, except for I need the couple lights that I've been talking about. Wait for them to go on sale. Only have 2 lights up here. I put the lettuce up here. Going to clip off the outer leaves again now today. Here are the 2 Lola Rosa lettuce that I got growing. So that's why they're so small. They're just way behind the other ones. And here's the peppers I got. So the yellow pequino. I have 2 Apache F3s. And the 2 hot Portugal pepper. That's what I got growing with peppers. It seems to me when I cut back the lettuce and the medicinal herb, these got more light and they seem to have taken right off after that. So, yeah, they grow much faster in the past week than they were before. And as for the medicinal herb, you see, like I said, the shoots are coming out on either side and I'll get a bushy plant. I'm going to harvest all of the radishes now. I didn't put a seed in those other cups that I said before. But I am going to now. I'm going to take up all of the radishes I got here. And when I do my salad, I'll put in the leaves and all. I did it last time as well. Put the leaves and all in the salad and grate up the actual bulb. See, I have this one completely done out with the wicking mat. So it's filled out that way. I can start seed there because you don't need light to start them. But then I need to, once they get growing, put them, have light that I can put them in under. All trimmed back. Here's my harvest. I have basil, 12 grams, lettuce, 49 grams, and a beautiful clutch of radishes at 288 grams, leaves included. That was too big of a salad. I couldn't finish it. I should have just harvested half of the radishes and maybe had a salad in a week's time. But it's amazing. I couldn't get these to bulb up no way no how outside. They grow just perfectly under these 5000 Kelvin lights. And there's 3 there, so I got a little over 600 lumens per square foot. So what I'm thinking is that if I'll start with 3. So I set 3 a week. And I'd have my lettuces growing. And my basil, of course. And every once a week I'd be able to have a salad with 3 radishes. I've been deciding on what I'm going to grow this year and where I'm going to grow it. This is a Adobe Photoshop file that I have, and I just play with it each year, and once I get it all decided, I'll save a JPEG image to say what's where. These circles on there, they're the sprinkler reach. I have a dot here, that's where the sprinkler would sit. That will be the center. I've got one of those sprinklers that goes around the circle, right? And so anywhere I plant plants inside of here, it won't cause me extra watering time. This bed here I don't have made yet. Remember last year I made this bed? So I'll make this one the very first thing this year. And I've decided to plant 10 beds of potatoes here. Earlier in the fall I started having potato pancakes for breakfast instead of the eggs and toast I usually have. But I didn't get very long, and I said if I keep this up I'm not going to have enough potatoes. So 10 beds and taking good care of them, hopefully I'll get enough potatoes, right? I've got these 2 that's here, and these 6 here, and I'm still putting potatoes in these 2 over here. My goal for this year is to try and get of the plants, because in the previous years now I've been throwing stuff around seeing what grows best where. Now I feel I've done that enough years. I'm going to try to grow as much as the stuff I know grow well that will hopefully last me a year. So I'm thinking I just need the one bed of rutabaga. I've got a ton of rutabaga seed, the Thompson Laurentian that I grew back in 2019. That's what I used last year, and I had pretty much 100% germination. Then I have the strawberry bed that I just set last year, and the ones that I set the year before. So that one that's blinking there now, I'm going to put Tiger's Eye bean. That's a Tiger's Eye from Incredible Seeds. That's a Tiger's Eye bean from Incredible Seeds. Then there's Soldier. That's the one that's got, looks like a little soldier's helmet on it, and the rest of the bean is white. Jacob's Cattle. So that's a big random splotch on the attachment side, and then there's just spots all over it. That's Jacob's Cattle. Black Turtle. That's just the little guy. All black. So we found I got fairly good production out of just, like I say, throwing them in. So for this year, having one bed of each and taking good care of it, I should get a fairly good harvest of beans. 2 beds of red beets. This is where I had the sugar beets planted last year. I decided that this year I'm not going to do sugar beets. They're good. They're really good. I made some pickles with them this time. I just made them today, so it's a couple weeks before I get to actually really see how well they do. But I boiled them up like the regular red beets, and then I tried one, and it was very tasty. So I'm expecting the pickled version of them to be good as well. But I was growing them to try and make a brown sugar. I tried different ways that I found people had done it on the internet, and it didn't work for me. The last one was drying the syrup and then breaking it up, but it just turned to a fruit leather, and it just didn't work. I don't know if it's the humidity or what, but eventually I'll get back to sugar beets and continue to experiment with that. But right now, I know I can grow regular beets, and if I grow 2 beds of beets, I got 19 bottles of beets there now, and I've gone through several bottles. So I had like 24-25 bottles of beets from last year, and it was pretty much just a one bed, because remember that inside bed, due to the shade, it didn't do very well, and that's why I've got them moved over here into the sunny plot. And I have been working with those beds. This is not going to be a full one, because remember, in this bed I have those 2 Brussels sprout plants that I want to go to seed. So that's going to take up some space. But almost 2 beds worth. This is the bed of disappointment. Once again though, I got it covered now in compost, and it should do better this year. I really like the bull's blood beet. There's not a whole lot of seeds in here. Oh crap. And I've got them all cooked up. So I have to try and get one to replant next year to go to seed of bull's blood. And Cylindra. I like this one. Technically speaking, just because these are elongated, that's the only thing they have above my Detroit Dark Red. This is my seed that I grew, and I've got a much bigger container in there than that, but this is the one container I'm taking from now. As far as quality goes, Cylindra and Detroit Dark Red are about the same, just that the Cylindra is that elongated beet. Bull's blood, however, it's a really deep, deep red beet. And it does have a deeper flavor than the Detroit Dark Red, but I like them both. So I think I'm going to plant out whatever seeds is left in here. Try to remember to keep a bull's blood to go to seed next year. And what I've got left, I'll just do with Detroit Dark Red. Of course, you know where I have my garlic planted. These are multiple colors because this is from last year. And if you remember correctly, I went through this bed, dug through it, sifted it all out, both beds. And I let a lot of extras grow up in this one. So I didn't do very well with the onions just because I let other extra things grow up there. But this year they're going to be just onions, except I might put a squash like right in the corner here, and maybe another one here. But otherwise it's going to be all onion. Now, as far as the onions go, I've got a bunch of onion seeds here. I don't know why I have 2 packs, but I think I must have bought 2 packs to have a full bed's worth. Now this is the Kelsey onion. Records, I had 2 different records. West Coast Seeds says the record is over 15 pounds, actually 15.5 pounds. But I found another site that said the record was 16 pounds 7 ounces or something like that. These are huge onions. The big one that I had last year is Alyssa Craig. You see, that's 1,700 seeds. I don't know why I have 1,700 seeds. It must have something to do with the pricing. It was just as well. I think, yeah, that's what it was. I would have had to buy 2 packs at 100 seeds in a pack, or by 5 grams, and it was basically the same price, and 5 grams came out to 1,700 seeds. However, I grew this one, and it's a really mild flavor, sweet onion, and you could eat it raw, no problem at all. The same thing goes for this Kelsey, except for it's a much bigger onion. So the plan is to set out a 200 cell flat with Kelsey and add that for my transplants and do 1 full bed. That will put them 4 inches apart, but I need them at least 6 inches apart. So when they start to bulb up and the bulbs are getting close to interfering with each other, I'll take out every second one, and then they'll be 8 inches apart, right? So I'll get onions earlier, I'm thinking, if I do it that way. Sweet onions. Neither Alyssa Craig nor Kelsey is storage onions, even though the website says that Kelsey will store well into the next year. They're not rated as a storage onion, so if I get a good crop, we'll see how long they would actually last sitting on there. We'll do that experiment. Bornetta Capellino and this one here, it's actually the same onion. There's 2 different spellings, but like I said, it's the same. It's just that different companies spell it differently, that's all. They're storage onions. So the other bed I want to set out with these guys. I've made, when I set my onions, I'll show you that, but I've made 3 trays of 200 cell flats for my onion experimenting. So that means I'm going to have 600 onions. I'll probably make a mixture, because I got this Rosa di Milano, Red Weathersfield, don't know how many seeds is in there, and the West Coast seeds, so I'll decide and I'll do a third of each one maybe. And I've got a few places around I want to poke them and see how well they do. Walla Walla onions. This is another one of the huge onions. I tried them not last year, but a few years back on the inside bed where I have herbs now. And they didn't do very well. Well, they were there in the shade, and those trees that had gotten cut down, they weren't even cut down at that time. But then I was reading through the instructions, and it says plant in spring or in August to overwinter. I can plant these in middle of August and overwinter them. Now, the last 5 years, we've gotten down to at least minus 24 Celsius. It says these can withstand at least minus 22, minus 23 Celsius, something. When the garlic comes up, I'll plant these a week or two later after I harvest the garlic in that bed. And in the fall, I'll put a bunch of branches over them and then see if they survive the winter and see what kind of harvest I'll get in the next year. I have these red spring onions. I don't know if I'll do anything with that. These are the ones that the germination is iffy, if you remember from last year. Carrots. I can go through 2 beds of carrots, I think. And I did pretty good last year, actually, but as you know, I can do even better just because we didn't get a full harvest. Some of them were not so good, but I still have 4 different types here. Plus, if I want to, I have the carrot seed that I grew last year. From Vessies, there's Chantenay Red Cord. I'm not too fond of the Chantenay carrots, actually. So I may or may not plant those. I like the Nantes type of carrot. This is a Scarlet Nantes. Denver's Aflong is a Nantes type carrot as well. And Littlefinger, that proved to be a tasty carrot, a little shorter than Denver's Aflong and the Scarlet Nantes, but still a very good carrot. So I have these 3 for sure, and I'll have to decide on between this Chantenay Red Cord. I think I have some garden grown stuff in there that would be Corliss Toucan, and then there's the ones I grew last year, which was from a hybrid, so we don't know exactly how they would turn out. I can't go and look at the website and say this is how they're going to be, because like I say, it's seed from an hybrid, so now you've got a new mixture of the genetics. Of course, we got our rhubarb bed that we really went through and reset the 4 plants. We've got it sifted and recompost and everything looking beautifully there now. We'll see how the plants grow this year, because it might be that I'll just have to forego harvesting them this year, and it might not. We'll see. Over in the shady plot, remember the ones I put over there. So we've got another 4 plants over there. If they grow well, should be able to get some harvest today. So what else do we have? We have the asparagus. That's this up here. I want to sometime make a herb garden down close to the house, just as you walk out the back door, and move these herbs, but I don't think that's going to happen this year. Now this, I haven't got it ready for anything but squash, because what I'm going to have to do is put the squash in the hole and surround the whole thing with cardboard, because as you know, the stinging nettles and grasses and that are growing up in that area like crazy. I have these 2 beds here This one you can consider full sun. It'll get a little bit of shade during most of the growing season, somewhere around mid-morning. Gets kind of shaded somewhere around across there for a little bit in mid-morning. This one you will consider partial shade, but the rutabaga grew there fine last year. Now this one in here is full shade. So I'm wanting to decide on edible perennials that grow in full shade and do out this bed. If you got any suggestions, fire away. Let me know down in the comments, and then I can, because I really don't know how to set out a herbaceous vegetable bed for full shade. So just whatever pops into your head, you put it in the comments, and then I can look it up and see if it will grow in my conditions. These are, well, I don't know if you consider them partial shade or, yeah, partial shade, I guess. This is where the brassicas were. So 2 half beds, so I got the equivalent of 1 full bed there that I can plant annuals in. So 3 beds, and then the 1 bed for some perennial shade plants. Over on this side, this bed is ready to go. And this bed has a row of asparagus in it, but behind the asparagus there's an area where I plant something else. So I got that empty. This bed here, I could plant an annual in it. I could also do like I did last year and plant a bunch of my tree seedlings in it. So that's yet to be seen. This on the other end is the little file I got made for the house portion. So we've got the workshop there. We've got the 1 grapevine there. The other grapevine there. And of course I want to put some kind of a rack up the top for them to grow up on. Then we go down, here's the house. I'm going to put the tomatoes back here. There's 14 tomato plants if I go out 3 feet. 14 tomato plants I can fit there. And 18 tomato plants I can fit here. 32 in all. And you know about the ton of tomato varieties I have. Coming down further, the fence line is right there. I want to bring that bed out at least 2 feet. So it'll be here. And I'll be able to plant something along here. But I've always been planting the peas along here. Sugar peas. Somewhere along the way, I have to figure out where I'm going to plant cucumbers. Cucamelon. I was humming on about these. I'm not one to chase around something just because everybody else is doing it, but Hugh Richards, he was interviewing another gardener over in the UK at one point, and the way that gardener described the cucamelons really got me interested. So I bought them to try this year. So the ideal now is to, instead of put peas down here, I'll put cucamelons along this fence. I've got 30 seeds. Doesn't say how far I'm supposed to separate them, but anyway, 30 should be enough for along there. It's only 20 feet, so if I put 30, if I get 30, then that's 1 every 10 inches or something, right? And then I have cucumber straight 8. And remember my other one, don't remember the name of it, but I done the germination test, and straight 8 had good germination. The other one didn't. So when I was ordering from West Coast Seeds, they didn't have the other one. But Market More 76 is kind of similar to that one. And so I bought Market More 76. I have a few seeds of bushcrop cucumber, but I'm not fancy about that one. It's an alright cucumber, and especially if you want to grow it in a pot or something, I say go with bushcrop. But there's better cucumbers, so I'm not going to bother. I'll just do these two now. I know these two are really delicious cucumbers, and you can make good pickles out of them because I've had them raw and pickled. So for peas, I have Sugar Sprint pea. That's the Sugar Snap ones that you can eat pod and all. Oregon Edible Pods Snow Peas. You see these pink coated ones? They're 21 years old, or 22 something. And every year I plant them, I still get pretty much 100% germination. So the thinking is that I could plant the snow peas along here as I've done every year, or plant the edible pod sugar sweet peas. And then plant the other ones over here. The only issue with planting peas over here, if you've been watching my past videos, you know this area just dries right out. So I need to be able to keep them moist. That's the main issue right there. But I can try it. Coming back here, remember I said I can only plant squash here. I have this area that I can plant squash in. And I'm thinking I'll do the same as I done last year. I'll put a squash here on the corner of this potato bed, and another one down here on this corner. And I have two squash plants growing there. Like I said, on the corners of the onion beds, I could do that. Might be able to put one or two somewhere up here. If I put a couple here and grow them out around the bushes, then the same variety here, and over here I'd do a different variety. Then they're separated enough that I hand pollinate anyway, and then that will greatly reduce the cross, and I'll just be able to save seeds. Now, as for what melons I have, remember the seeds I showed you in the last video? Well, I done the sink test, and not one of them sunk. So I put them here for a germination test. This is the mashed potato squash. And right now, that one looks like the one I've got about 70% germination from the mashed potato squash one. These are from the Burgers Buttercup, and I mean I'm still leaving them there. Hey, hang on a sec. It looks like they're starting to sprout. I'll take them out and have a look. Falling apart the tissue is. So let's just pick this one out that I thought was, yeah. You see? It's sprouting. That's good because I don't have another squash plant to get seeds from. And I didn't want to have to order more. Now, I mean, I could get a butternut squash just in the local store just to have a butternut squash, right? But if I can get, this one is starting to sprout, plants from these that I saved, then I don't have to buy seeds, do I? Because, like I say, I don't have another Burgess Buttercup. The Waltham Buttercup, no seeds in it. So this is my only choice for saved seeds. So back to the mashed potato squash. This is a bush type squash. I can plant that in one of those upper beds. But I have another squash that I want to plant in that bed. Now, I don't know if you remember, but I was saying I like to have a little squash, a storage squash. Gold Nugget. It puts up to, it says it can put up to 10 fruit at the base of a bush type plant, weighing 700 grams, 1.5 pounds each. So that's like a personal size squash. I mean, once you peel it and take the seeds out, you'd be lucky if you get a pound, right? So the perfect size squash that you can have a whole bunch of them sitting back on the pantry, and when you want squash, you just take one, and that's for the entire squash for the one meal. So that's what I was looking for. They'll be similar to, growing similar to a zucchini, like the rondonites, right? Those two, I really like the mashed potato squash, as I said in the last video. This one sounds really interesting. I hope that will grow. My vegetable marrow, one that is bigger, but I really like vegetable marrow. That I might plant with the potatoes. Just have two plants, one on either end of those two potato beds. Delicata winter squash. And what else do I want to grow out of squash? I think rondonite zucchini. Oh, and I have dark green zucchini as well. So I might grow those two zucchini, delicata, vegetable marrow, and buttercup squash, the Gold Nugget. And then my mashed potato one, as we just found out, that other one. Spaghetti squash, it's similar to vegetable marrow, it's just got a different texture, right? It comes out in a stringy flesh. I'm not going to grow this one. This is my first love of squash, started with these. But these other squash are more versatile, and I've only got so much time, so much space. Peppers, I don't know if I'll ever get a pepper that will produce well. What I need is a pepper that will overwinter well in the sunroom. So, I have these, Apache F3, the hot Portugal pepper from Will It Grow, the Herdy chocolate pepper, the red candy cane. Oh, this is new ones, so I'm going to be trying, but I don't know if they'll work. It's just that I'm still looking for ones that will work. So I've got the red candy cane and California Wonder from West Coast Seeds again, and then the Ring of Fire. The other ones, I guess the seeds have ran out, and I'm not going to say I'm going to get those again. I'll just keep wandering around the different types of peppers until I come across one that will work, if that is possible. The last thing I have for 2023 is chickpeas. Now I bought them like this because it was West Coast Seeds I seen them at, and they don't sell them as a home gardener thing, they sell them as a cover crop. So this is the smallest pack I could get, enough to heavily seed 100 square feet. But chickpeas, I understand that's what they make hummus from. Hummus, H-U-M-U-S. And I like hummus. And I thought, I wonder if chickpeas will grow here. So what I'm thinking about doing now is actually going up where the Russian mulberry is and sticking a bunch of these in the ground all over and seeing if they'll grow. I'm not really going to pay a whole lot of attention to them. Just wander by, and if they do grow and set seed, then I'll have chickpeas. If they don't, oh well. It's a lot of work, and there'll be a lot more as well. Gardening is never done. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button, and if you want to follow along, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.